Hello everybody, and we're about to continue our Let's Play series of Dark Souls 3. Let's see where adventure's going to be taking us next. So in our last one, we actually took on the Nameless King, and now I think just to round everything out in the main game here, we're going to go back to the Grand Archives. Actually, I think the closest is Dragon Slayer Armor, if I remember correctly. So I'm taking on the Twin Princes, which is also another that fight can go many ways, not always in your favor. It'd be kind of tricky sometimes. But we'll see how it goes. You can summon for the Twin Princes. I think you have Cirrus, and I'd like to say Orbeck if you follow Orbeck's quest. However, I'm not sure it really helps too much. We got our Dragon Crest shield back on because of the fire damage that Lorien does. And up we go. Or, gotta go back up again because we went down. I forgot that this one does that. I remember my first times fighting the Twin Princes. That was quite the fun time. It took a while to get at least somewhat comfortable fighting them, because they were quite the challenge. They still are. You can still find yourself in a rough spot any given try against the Twin Princes. That's pretty much how it goes for the rest of these bosses we got coming up. Between the Nameless King, which we took on in our last episode, the Twin Princes. When we get to the DLCs, we got Sister Frida, we've got the Demon Prince, we've got Madeira, of course, always a fun time, and of course we've got Gale. And then even the Soul of Cinder sometimes can be an interesting encounter. But if you're trying to summon, of course, you would go off to the corner, I think, for Orbeck. I think Cirrus might be in here, but I forget. This fight also concludes Cirrus's questline once you defeat them. Let's see, for fun, should we bring her along just to see how it goes? It might not go well, but she's been our friend in this one, so we'll see how it goes. And maybe with a combination of us bleeding the princess, it might help. But onward we go.
Oh dear. Another dogged contender. Welcome, unkindled one. Purloiner of cinders. Mind you, the mantle of Lord interests me none. The fire-linking curse, the legacy of lords, let it all fade into nothing. You've done quite enough. Now have your rest.
Here we go. Oh my god. There we go. Phase 2. And Cirrus is still alive. Interesting. See if it can continue.
Dear brother, I'm on my way. My brother, unyielding sword of Lothric's prince. Rise if you would, for that is our curse.
Of course, this is when the fight really starts. Oh my goodness. Okay, Cirrus is down. Oh boy. Not looking good for this first try. So there we go. We'll try again. Of course, I think it'll go better without Cirrus, just because the health boost is not really worth the distraction and damage that Cirrus does. So this will probably be a little more manageable. Of course, it can still be a very hard time. But sometimes it's fun to just try to see if Cirrus helps you. She actually did help us against... Who did she help us against? The Dragon Slayer armor wasn't too bad. This episode will probably mostly be attempts against these guys. The cool thing is that Lorien doesn't really attack until you start moving, which is nice. So it gives you some time to set up. Oh! Of course I say that, and then he just smashes us. go. We're gonna go over here. Always makes things a little better. Oh my god. There we go. Okay, awesome. And the Twin Princes are down. We get the Cinders of the Lord and the Soul of the Twin Princes. Whew, always a fun time. And quite the arena as well. Let's take a quick look at their soul. Soul of the Twin Princes, one of the Twisted Souls, steeped in strength. The two princes rejected their duty to become Lords of Cinder and settled down far, far away to watch the fire fade from a distance. Curse makes their souls nearly inseparable. We also have description. The Lothric bloodline was obsessed with creating a worthy heir, and when this proved impossible, resorted to unspeakable means. Suffice it to say, the path to linking the fire is a cursed one indeed. Let's hop on back to Firelink and take a look at the description of their items real quick. And then after that, we'll probably wrap up this episode, and then in our next one, we will be beginning the Ashes of Ariandel DLC, which is always a fun time. Okay, let's see here.
Welcome, speak. Very well, then taken.
Okay, there we go. Our dexterity is all set at 40. About 10 more levels to play with. We'll get more endurance and more attunement.
Farewell, Ashen One.
Okay, I think we had the description of their armor sets over here.
Ah,
Lorien's armor. Armor of the Prince, Lothric's older brother Lorien. This black-dyed brass armor was passed down to him from the royal family. Lorien, raised as a knight, is said to have been left mute and crippled by his younger brother's curse. It was also said that Lorien, in fact, wished it so. Pretty awesome. And of course the Hood of Prayer we already got
Ashen One. B.
earlier in the, I think, right by the, just before the Dragon's Barracks. I think that's the prayer set.
Aha, thou returned, and a fine day it is. So,
Okay, so our options would be Lorien's Greatsword, of course. Greatsword of Lorien, Prince Lothric's older brother, cast in smoldering molten steel and stained black. Before Lorien embraced his brother's curse, he was a knight who single-handedly slayed the demon prince, but The victory eternally scorched his sword with flame. And then we've also got, if we can find it, Lothric's Holy Sword. Prince Lothric's straight sword blessed by Emma with potent magic. Young Lothric was meant to be a champion and was expected to wield this platinum sword, but some things will remain distant dreams forever. And of course, I believe it shoots out a pretty cool weapon art, but it would be cool if it did some type of extra damage to it. I don't think it's super strong from what I remember. I didn't really use it too much. I think just briefly, but it might be fun to use as a part of a playthrough, just to have as a, well, it's a pretty cool looking sword, but, and the weapon art's awesome. I just don't know if it does enough damage, which you would hope it would do a little bit more. And when you combine, I believe, Lothric's Holy Sword and Lorien's sword, you get a pretty special one.
I took the mantle.
But that requires, I think, multiple playthroughs with the same character. Let's see, what else do we have going on before we continue? That might be about it. We'll probably save all of the Lords of Ash until way later, because I kind of like to save that moment just before we head on over to Soul of Cinder. So that leaves us with just entering the DLC, and we will be saving that for our next one. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in, and we'll be talking again real soon.